Indigo Kelly with soulsearchingwithindigokelly.com. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than my normal video. We are going to be making some DIY bleach, tie-dye, acid wash, whatever you want to call it, spiritual wear. I often have trouble finding spiritual wear locally, and what I mean by spiritual wear is just anything that has spiritual related logos or emblems or symbols or sayings, anything like that. I have trouble finding those locally. I do always find some online, but it seems that they are really overpriced or they are being shipped from really far away, and it takes a really long time for that item to be shipped. Then when I get it, I'm not sure of the quality. Sometimes it doesn't fit, and then you just can't really return it, so you don't know what to do. Today I'm going to be doing a acid washed black t-shirt that is going to have the moon phases on the front, and I'm going to show you step by step how I do this. You can really do this with whatever kind of design that you want. If you can hand draw it, then you can put it on the front of a t-shirt. All right, so in order to get started, you will need to put something down over your table surface, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I just have a black trash bag here. You can really use anything. You can use a paint drop cloth. You can use anything to put down on your table so that it does not mess up the finish on your table. I also have seen a lot of people doing this outside on the concrete so that it doesn't mess up anything inside, okay? So I'm just gonna lay down a plain black trash bag on my table. The next thing that you're going to need is parchment paper, non-stick parchment paper, okay? This is probably only about between $2 and $4 at your local grocery store. Then you need a roll of regular size duct tape. Doesn't matter what color it is, just a regular size roll of duct tape. A Sharpie or two, a pair of scissors, bleach. Now, what I have done and what you will need to do to make your shirt, you need to put your bleach inside of a spray bottle. Now, you can do that with a spray bottle. They sell spray bottles at the Dollar Tree that are just small, plain spray bottles. I didn't want to pay extra for a spray bottle, so I just used a bottle that I already had that was empty from some other home cleaner that I had, and filled it up with my bleach so that I didn't have to purchase another bottle, okay? So this is my bottle full of bleach. And then, of course, you're going to need some plain black t-shirts, okay? I ordered a set of 4 plain men's black t-shirts. The mistake that I made, though, was I accidentally ordered the shirts that have the pocket on the front. It would work out a lot better if it didn't. I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the pocket on the front, but when you order your shirts, or if you plan on purchasing some shirts, make sure that you get the kind that doesn't have the pocket in the front, unless of course you want the pocket in the front. Now, you do not have to do this with black. If you see the shirt that I have on right here, this is actually acid wash with bleach as well. It was originally this yellow mustard color. You can also do this with any color that you want other than white, of course. So whatever color shirt you want to use, but today I'm going to be doing it on black, okay? So I am going to put my shirt aside because first I'm going to make my design. And like I said, my shirt is going to be the moon phases, all right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out some parchment paper, and I want it to be just big enough. That was probably a little too big. I'm gonna cut a little bit over the top. That was probably just big enough for me to draw out my moon phases, okay? So then there are two sides to the parchment paper, and you want to use the side that feels more smooth and shiny, the more shiny side. You want that side to be on the top, okay? So you're gonna take your square of parchment paper, and it can be however big or small you need it to be for your design, but for my moon phases, I really don't need it to be that big, okay? And I'm just gonna lay it out flat right here. Then you're going to take your duct tape, and you want to kind of cover just enough area on your parchment paper for your design. You don't have to cover the whole parchment paper with the duct tape, but just enough for your design. So I'm going to take this and just lay it over the parchment paper, and it'll kind of like stick and kind of not stick. It's kind of like you don't want it to stick completely. And I'm going over a little bit on each edge on the sides so that it'll kind of stick to the trash bag. If you see, I kind of went over there, and that's okay for it to stick to that surface because you're going to end up trimming that edge off anyways. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It doesn't have to be, you know, try to make straight lines across the parchment paper, but it does not have to be perfect. Okay, and I'm just going to make it just big enough, and you should be able just to rip the duct tape off on each edge. If not, you can use your scissors to cut it off. All right, so as you can see, that is just about big enough for me to do my design. So I don't need any more than that for the little full moon design that I'm going to, or moon phases design that I'm going to do, okay? So now that I have my duct tape laid out flat on the parchment paper, I'm going to take the parchment paper and I want to turn it over the other way. Be really careful not to rip. My duct tape kind of stuck to my trash bag, but that's okay. Just rip it off and flip it over, okay? You get a little bit of I got a little bit of trash bag stuck on there, no big deal. Okay. I didn't think about the trash bag sticking to the duct tape so much, but boop. Okay, no big deal. Smooth it back out. Okay. Then the back side of it is going to look like this. All right. So I'm going to trim off the extra edges of the duct tape. I'm actually going to trim it to where it makes like a straight line because I kind of ripped it when I was ripping it off of the trash bag. If you can use something different than a trash bag that doesn't stick to your duct tape so much, that might be better. Possibly like maybe a piece of cardboard or a drop cloth, a paint drop cloth might be something good to use. I just didn't want to get it on the finish on my dining room table. All right. So now what I have laying in front of me, I'm going to make sure this is stuck really good onto my parchment paper, looks like this, okay? So you can see where the duct tape is still. Now, I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to draw out my moon phase design. And I am actually going to use this as my circle for my moon, okay? So I'm just gonna trace it, and I'm gonna trace 3 circles, okay? They do not have to be perfect either, okay? Just do your best to get them as close to, you know, a correct circle. And make sure after you draw on the parchment paper, don't like smear your finger across it, because the Sharpie on the parchment paper will smear. It doesn't really like stick because it's a waxy paper, okay? All right, so now I have my 3 circles, okay? Now I'm going to cut all 3 of those circles out, and you're going to cut through both thicknesses of the parchment paper and the duct tape, and you're going to kind of want to hold them together, because as I said before, the duct tape does stick to the parchment paper, but not completely, because it has wax on one side. So it's, you know, we want it to be able to easily come off after we cut out the circle, okay? So I'm gonna cut out each one first so that it makes it a little easier for me to handle. So I have my first circle here, and I'm just gonna do my very, very best to cut out this circle. And just do your best to make sure that it is as close to a round circle as you can get. Okay. Okay. So there's my first circle, and just leave the parchment paper on the back of it for now. Put your scraps over here. Cut out my second circle. Now we have 3 circles, and basically what they are now is like 3 stickers. So you're going to leave one whole. That's the full moon in the middle, okay? You leave that one whole. Then you are going to take one and you're going to cut it right down the middle, and really, I mean, I'm just gonna eyeball this. Or, I mean, I guess you could take it and like fold it in half and make like a crease, and then lay it flat. There you go. And then cut along that little crease right there. So, okay, so now we have our 2 half moons, okay? Then I'm gonna take this last one, and you're gonna wanna make like 2 crescent moons from each side. So what I'm gonna do first is just do the same thing and make 2 halves, and then turn those 2 halves into crescent, okay? So fold it in half again. Okay, then we have our 2 halves, and I am actually gonna take my Sharpie on one of the halves and kind of sketch out the crescent to make sure it's how I want it to look. And then I'll cut them both at the same time. Okay, so you see I just kind of free-handed that little crescent, okay? And I'm gonna take this and put it on the back of it and try to line up the edges, line up the lines, okay? Don't line up the circle part, line up the lines, because that's gonna be the important part, okay? And then hold it like this and cut the crescent out, okay? Now would be the time where kind of want to clear. Let's take our shapes. They're still stuck together with their parchment paper. Don't take those apart yet. And clear everything else out of the way. And this would be the time where we can lay our trash bag down so that we don't mess up our table. So lay out the trash bag. don't want to get bleach on the table. But like I said, if you want to do this outside or in the bathroom, like on tile or in the tub, you can do it like that. Okay, so I'm going to put my shirt down with the front facing me, okay? And I'm just folding it in half and kind of smoothing it out as best as possible. Okay, now I am going to take basically what you made when you did this with parchment paper was you made your own little sticker. So you're gonna take now and peel off the parchment paper, and then you just have a duct tape circle. So this is your full moon. So you're going to want to put it right in the center of the shirt. And since mine has a pocket, I'm just gonna put mine just right over the pocket. Oops. So put your full moon right in the center. Then the hardest part, I think, is probably lining them up. If you want to take like your parchment paper box or a ruler or something that can be a straight line, like if you put it right here, I'm going to put mine on the top, but just to show you guys, kind of if you put it right here and make it a straight line, then make sure they're straight across. You can use a ruler or any kind of straight edge. And I'm going to take my halves, and your halves are going to go with the round part facing towards the full moon. So you're going to put the round part facing towards the full moon. And you want to make sure that that line of this line is going straight up and down, and it's not like a little this way or a little this way. You make sure it's straight up and down, okay? And you're gonna put it right. I'm gonna put mine about, you know, an inch away from the full moon and try to make sure. And the good thing is if you don't think it's straight, it comes right back off. So you can reposition it pretty much as many times as you want. Okay, does that look straight to me? I think that looks straight. Okay, then you take your other half and put it on the other side. Remember, you want the straight edge facing away from the full moon, which is in the middle circle, right? So I'm going to take it like this, and you want to line it up, like I said, as best you can. Try to make sure that you space it evenly too. If you want to get really technical, you can measure it. But I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. Okay, is that straight? I think so. Okay. Then I'm gonna take my crescents, and remember the circle shape is gonna point inward towards the full moon, okay? So this one's a little bit harder to get off because it's tinier, the little edge. Okay, you just take that little edge off and take your crescent moon and line it up. And again, about the same spacing that you did between the full and the half. Okay, and this one is a little bit harder to line up, I think, because of the way because of the shape, right? You want the opening to be just right, not like crooked. Make sure that it's just like this and not like that, or not like that. That's hard, kind of hard. So I'm having trouble with that. Final little crescent moon here. Okay. And you can really, like I said, you could do whatever kind of shape you want. I was thinking about doing one that maybe said like 1111, or maybe doing like a Hamza hand, or an Om, or just whatever symbol that you would like to put on your shirt, as long as you can sketch it out. And if you wanted to, you know, you could always trace something. Like I traced the circle. If you had like an outline of a ohm or something, you could use that to trace onto your parchment paper, because all you're going to be able to see when you put it on here is the outline anyways. So if you wanted to use the outline of, you know, a pattern or a picture or something that you already had, you could definitely do that. Okay, so let me show you guys my finished design, my finished stick-on design, okay? So this is what my design looks like. You can see, like I said, it's not all of the moon phases because it wouldn't fit on my shirt, but that is what it's going to look like, okay? Now, then I'm going to lay it back out flat again, and I am going to take my bleach spray bottle. You want to make sure that these are stuck down really good, like after you get them in the exact right spot, so that the bleach won't get under the design. And you want to make sure also not to saturate the fabric like completely, because that will also cause the bleach to go underneath the design, and it will kind of mess up your design and it won't look like what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I think my design is stuck on there pretty well. Now I'm going to take my bleach. Also, make sure you have on clothes and pants and shirts you don't mind getting bleach on, because you don't want to get bleach, because it will do this to everything you have on. The other thing I would suggest doing, if you don't want the bleach to leak through to the back side of the shirt, which mine is probably doing, is putting a piece of like cardboard or plastic or a piece of poster board or something between the t-shirt, so that it doesn't leak through. But I'm gonna kind of splash bleach my whole shirt anyway, so I didn't care if it bleached through, really. I'm totally happy with how it got a little bit of bleach underneath there. I think ideally there wouldn't be any, but I think it actually turned out pretty cool looking like that. So even less bleach than I applied, you know, on it. And then if you look at my whole shirt overall, you can see there got some bleach in some other spots. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just lay my shirt out flat and spray more bleach, just kind of all over, but not where my design is, because I already took the design stickers off of that, okay? So I'm gonna spread it out and just kind of add just wherever I want, just a little bit more bleach here and there, not on the design. And remember, you don't want to leave, you want to let before you wash it, you want to let the bleach dry just a little bit. And when you wash these, don't wash them with anything else other than themselves. You know, if you do a batch of shirts, like 3 or 4 shirts, just wash them all together. And then I'm gonna turn this one actually on its back. And once again, if you want to put something in the middle of the shirt so you don't get your bleach on the design, but I'm really just gonna barely squirt any on the back here. This is the finished product. I really like it a lot. I think it's super cute. So I hope that you guys can make some cute shirts. If you can think of some other cool designs that you might like to do, or that might be cool to do, comment down below, because I have 4 or 5 other shirts that I would like to do. Like I said, I was thinking about maybe doing like 1111 or a Hamza, or I don't know. You know, we'll just see what comes to me when I start cutting out. And it's got to be something that's easy for me to cut out of parchment paper too, right? Okay, so anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this DIY spiritual acid wash tie-dye shirt tutorial. Please comment down below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that post bell and notification down below. As always, love and light, and happy soul searching.